this is where we're at today.
Right.
And so when you tie this in with hip-hop, let's look at it. Why is all our women like whorish? The black women are the salt of the earth. Mm-hmm. How did they go from just natural bodies? How did you go, and I'm not trying to make this thing a racial thing between whites and black, but Kim Kardashian is the poster face for black people. It's twisted.
What do you mean she's the poster?
She's the poster for black women. The body look, the hair look, the blacks want to look like her. Mm. Doesn't make sense. When they used to come out, our sisters used to, like I said, they used to come out with their regular tube tops on, their Jordans or their Sassoon jeans on, and their jellies, you know, or their Reeboks, or the Pro Cans. And they would look beautiful when they come out with the espadrilles. Your girls know what I'm talking about, don't even front. My point that I'm trying to make you, it was pure, it was sincere, it was a different type of vibe. But I'm just going to connect one thing. Mm-hmm. When we started seeing all this promiscuous stuff going on in the hip-hop community pertaining to the women, let's do a family tree here. I'm going to look back and I'm going to say we need to beat and wake up some of our elders out of the grave and discipline them all over again. Why you say that, Clyde? Why are you bringing this up? Because a lot of stuff we thought was innocent that they were doing back then, it evolved into what is going on today. Accountability.
Like what? Can
you had Millie Jackson sitting on a toilet bowl. Her album, something ain't the S word. Then you look at the first female who put on a provocative hip-hop album cover was Ice-T's wife, Darlene. I got to meet her, but she was on there on the power cover with the pistols. And I remember I met with all of them in the hotel downtown with Bam and all of us, right? Because remember, Islam used to go with my sister, and her name was called Shambada, which she got the name from Bambaatta. And Africa Islam used to manage Ice-T. So there's a lot of history here. So that's where a lot of connections come in at. And when my mind just goes in so many different places. When I look back at that, I remember Jazzy Jay. He used to hang out in here in the Scholar with us. I told you, he used to date this girl named Robin Dash in this building. I got pictures at the studio up on Blondale Avenue, side street. But I like to say that's the original Def Jam. Before it was Strong City Records. Remember, Jazzy Jay had Def Jam Records before he sold it to Russell Simmons.
I heard something like that.
Remember, there was a song came out, Cold Chillin' in the Spot.
Remember what year that was?
Russell Simmons was rapping. It's the first time he rapped. Yo, Jazzy Jay, you want to cut that record up? Yo, Jazzy. Remember, Jazzy Jay's in the house. Look at it. It's called Cold Chillin'. Cold Chillin' in the Spot. That probably, do you remember what year that was? Maybe 84, 85, maybe. Go Google that.
You saying Jazzy was before, what, in Def Jam, or he found
Jazzy Jay
helped start Def Jam.
He helped.
It's
with
yours.
Rick Rubin.
It's
Rick
yours.
Rubin?
Right. Yes.
You got the Def Jam late warning.
Mm-hmm.
Tila Rock came out. It's 84. It's yours. It got Def Jam. You look at the white label, it got Def Jam on it.
Jazzy Jay produced Rock the Bells album. He was part of that album. Right? So there's a lot of history. But remember I told you, when you're not business minded, see Rick Rubin and them, because him and Jazzy was cool. He was that Jewish guy. But you talking about Russell Simmons. Remember, and Andre Harrell, they were business. They became like business minded. They went to school. See, we was more like in the streets. That's when hip hop started really becoming very commercial. I would say with Run DMC era.
Right.
right? Of course, you know Run is Russell's brother, and Russell's gonna push his brother. You understand? Because I remember there was pictures with Run and Run DMC, and they had a picture with all like different hip hop era, and you could see the way Run was standing in that picture, like, I don't want to be with these cats. You know what I mean? Because the spotlight was on them when Sucker MCs came out. But I look back and I say, there's a lot of history. When you look at that, I say Def Jam Studio up in Blondale, because that's where it originally came from. Ice-T used to come there. I got pictures with Ice-T. Me and Lance used to be in there. That's when Jazzy Jay used to program a lot of stuff with the beat for us.
Remember I tell you, when we was going into the record deal type thing, that's when you more or less got the Nasty Cousins stamp, mid-80s.
That's when the 808 came out. He used to use the DMX drum machine, and they also had and you can kind of splice that in half and it'd be the DX machine. So you hear that hard 808, boom. You know, Russell Simmons and them did, what's that joint? Together Forever, Run DMC, Together Forever. That 1, 2, 3, and I like to say, party people, your dreams has now been fulfilled. That beat is the 808 sound. There's a lot of history here.
Right.
So when you look back, and let's look at Bronxdale Projects, and why I'm saying Mario, because Mario put Andre Harrell on. Andre Harrell started Uptown Records. Remember, Mary J. Blige used to come through there. LL, Russell Simmons, Jodeci. All of these cats.
Andre had an apartment for Jodeci in Bronxdale before they grew up.
Yeah.
Remember, they were country boys.
And let me even name this before I forget. Tupac's cousin talked about Disco King Mario.
Right.
I got it on tape right now.
Right.
And how he was inspired. And Tupac used to live over there around the private house by Bronxdale. And he was inspired watching Mario play. His cousin was like, nah, after a while we gotta go. And he was like, basically like looking at Mario like, yo.
When I turn to get ready to leave, Pop is still turning around looking at Disco King Mario, mesmerized. And I can pretty much imagine what's going on in his head.
Right.
He's looking at the Disco King Mario, and he's listening to the music, and he's soaking it all in.
Right.
And I'm pulling him like, come on, man, come on. And he's just, he's not paying attention to what I'm trying to do.
Right.
He's trying to stay and get this and soak this all in.
Right.
And it got so hard I kept pulling him, and it got to the point where I just had to pick him up and take him. And he was still looking.
Right.
And I like to think that was his first introduction to hearing our music.
Right.
And seeing our culture.
We gonna do it for the culture.
A Cool Clyde, shock the side, shock the side, shock. You better say who's the man that makes you wanna dance like the land, like the land.
Let me ask you, I seen a picture with you with the white, I don't know if it was a fur, and then Lance had the red hat, the red, the black, black bubble, right. Where was that at? What year was that? Y'all had Bambaatta in the middle. Bambaatta was in the middle. You was on one side, I was on the other side with the white. What year was that?
I had a black,
Where was that?
I had a black bubble on.
Black coat with the red shirt and red hat, and you had the white, look like fur.
That sound like 85,
and
84,
jury.
85.
Where was that at?
There was, it could have been, we had Danceteria. What's that joint on 14th Street? That,
the World?
It was the World, but it was another spot that a lot of them used to play in. I think KRS and them used to play in. Nah, it wasn't Red Parrot. I think it was Latin Quarter.
Is it okay if I put that picture in the video with Bambaatta in the middle and y'all on the side?
Listen, man, I got tons of pictures of events with Bam and so many people, man. So many people. And a lot of stuff that I've got that a lot of people don't know I have. A lot of history here. Right? Because, to be honest with you, that hip-hop museum was my idea.
Really?
Everybody knows about that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah?
I want to brought it to the media.
Listen, man. on,
That was
man.
your idea.
Of course it was.
From
Everybody
inception.
knows that.
You mean from inception? From the first spark of it?
I'm talking about from the spark of it. Nobody wasn't talking about no hip hop until I
Wow.
brought this to light. And I got all the documents to prove that.
Wow.
That's what I'm telling you, man. This
And
is,
then would somebody just acted on your idea?
of course. And this is my point. Listen, I had t-shirts made up. First radio station. I even got Snoop on tape. Snoop Dogg, me and him chopping it up. And when he heard that I was bringing, he said, "Yo, you can use my name, my footage. You got you got my permission. Whatever you need, just use it." Got him telling me this out of his own mouth.
But that got to do with the museum, or you saying something different?
No, that got to do with the museum.
The museum.
Yes.
So you told what, Snoop about it, and he said,
When he heard me, 'cause this is like almost unheard of when I was talking about this.
wow.
Come on, man.
Remember what year? What years was this?
Listen,
When you came up with this idea?
when we was doing, this was before 2005. I was talking about it before then. Right? I'm talking about,
When was you on serious radio with Kurtis Blow? Okay. Around that time. Before that,
you know, of course, God knows I had to repent. I started out with Kurtis Blow doing the hip-hop church.
Okay.
And this was on over there by 166th Street over there. The 21 bus stops over there. There was a church over there. And because I had one of these pastors, he came out with Wendy Williams on stage with us. Timothy Holder. He was out there with us. And he asked me to hook him up with Kurtis, but it originally was going to be him and Bam. But I guess the deal didn't go through, so him and Kurtis Blow started working together. So I brought Kurtis and him together, and then Kurtis was doing stuff. They used to have the key to the church come in, and then we have events coming down there, and then Kurtis branched from there and went into Manhattan, and he was doing something with another brother in Manhattan doing the hip-hop church around, what's that, 145th Street? He was doing something, and then he honored us in that church, me and Lance. E.T. Entertainment came out, and we in the Daily News. We got an article that Kurtis Blow did, and what's her name? I think Lisa G. From she was with what's his name? From Ed Lover. She was there too. So you know, he used to bring a lot of different people there to honor them. You know what I'm saying? At the church. But there's a lot of history that's going on. When you look back, when you talk about the record deals that we had, me and Lance put this record out called Brand New Funk.
Our brand.
Now,
that-
our
is that-
brand new
This is
funk.
way
That's not.
after this.
This is
Way after
This
this.
is way after. So, I had went to go visit my family. I think in Memphis, Tennessee, and I got a call from one of my MCs and said, "Yo, did you hear your record on the radio? Brand New Funk." It's like, what? Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Will Smith and them took our record and used it.
Wow.
And I'm like,
Concept, the same
the
type
same
of
concept, the same name. How is it? How is it? Our Brand New Funk was the name of the song, and they came out with the song Brand New Funk. They was on Jive Records. Remember, my manager was Dennis Bell. He was with City Slicker Production and Reality Records. Dougie Fresh in it. He was already in the industry because that's when he did the show. That was him that was playing that. He was my school teacher in Truman High School, which I brought DJ Jazzy Jay up to Truman High School to meet him. But I'm going to go back. That record, Brand New Funk, that we did in the studio, and we did it with Dennis Bell and Ollie Cotton and them, they shopped it to Jive Records, and Jive Records said they liked it. And you know who was going to be behind that? U2. That white group U2, Bono and them, they was going to sign us. They was going to manage
Old
us.
hit records. We had an article.
Now, listen. We also reached the Billboard magazines. The Nasty Cousins reached that, talking about that. So what happened was, Dennis Bell told us that they liked the record. They wanted to sign us. Maybe about 2 weeks later, all of a sudden, the record was, they ain't want the record. And then all of a sudden, brand new funk come out by Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince on the same Jive record label that we was going to be signed to, that Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince was signed to. All of a sudden, that came out. How coincidental is that? It's a lot of history here, man.
Then later on, we got contracts from another label. They wanted us to sign for 10 years.
Is that Powwow Records?
And this is as what? As DJs or producers or what? What is this?
We had a group, Nasty Cousins. That was the name of our group. We had me, him, Dynamite D. One of the guys that's on this record from the Hypnotizing MCs. There was the Hypnotizing MCs to the Hypnotizing 3 to the Hypnotizing 5. The lead guy from that group, Dynamite D, who lives in Atlanta, on this record, he was one of the Nasty Cousins. He was the rapper.
So it was 2 DJs and a rapper?
Yes. And then later on, we added another.
You said that's on there?
He's on here.
Oh,
he's on this.
Let me get a good, put it in the light. Like,
Let me take it out of here.
There's a lot of history, man.
Yeah.
And see, you got to also understand and see what happened when you look at that. And this is original stuff we're talking about, man. So,
what year is this?
This came out in 81.
Now, it was probably recorded a little before 81, because sometimes they don't release the record right away.
Okay.
You understand? You record it, and then they say, okay, we're going to put it out, and then later on, it comes out a little bit later. So it was like a little before our time. Remember, to hear a scratching record on the radio, they'd be like, take that off the air. You're making a mistake. You can't do that. We was before our time.
The difference with this, it was released like it was a compilation. On the B-side, you got snippets from tapes that were recorded at parties on the B-side. Scratching, Grandmaster Flash. Who else is on here? DJ AJ. You got various rappers.
You saying this was the first record that what?
The first time a DJ went in a recording studio and actually recorded live scratches.
Flash wasn't the first that did that? He wasn't the first?
Nah, his record came out after.
And that came out at
on here,
80. Oh, he's on there.
He's on but his was from tapes. On the whole B side of this, you got an A side.
Okay.
You got a B side. This whole B side is from tapes. Snippets from tapes put on the B side.
Okay.
So prior to this, there was.
You could show them the back of this, because look, you talking about the Celebrity Club, the T Connection.
See, that's where snippets of tapes came from. Them parties.
Now remember, here's the deal. One thing about social media, when I started talking vocal, putting out there to people that Lance and I were the first DJs to record live scratching on a record, a lot of people took offense to that.
Okay.
Because they was like, yo, you're talking about y'all the ones that invent scratch. No, we ain't saying we invented scratch. You gotta hear what we said, what we did. Don't try to mix this up.
Right.
We went into the studio, recorded, put it on wax, on a record, and recorded it.
I'm not saying we invented
Invented
it. You
scratch.
needed a record to invent scratch.
So that was the A side that did that with. The B side was tapes.
Yes.
Okay.
See, that's why we want to get Mike. You getting an exclusive stuff. You the new video music box of this era, but you getting the real stuff.
Right.
This is why I like what you're doing, because you going to the root of this, man.
Right.
Remember, a tree have many roots, but they have one main root. We want to get to the root of this, the birth of this, man.
Right.
We talking about what once was,
right.
The beginning of this, the creators of hip-hop, when cats was out here smoking the chunky back, the lethal Pt.2, the monster dust, the herb, the cheaper, the reefer, the skunk, the Buddha bless, the Acapulco gold. They used to smoke the dust back in the day. You'll call it angel dust. They should be smoking the angel dust. Remember, they smoked that, and I'm not glorifying this, We get a nickel bag of that. It costs $5 and they be high for the whole day. And the only way we get them off the high, we used to run to the store and get them a quart of milk, and they be underneath the bridge drinking the milk, and they come off and they get high. Crazy. But now, this synthetic stuff they getting high off, it's not even real. It's made in a laboratory, man. I don't know what these cats are getting high off of. You know, you remember the Malt Duck was out, the Cokie 9, the Old English, the Night Train. Now what they got, Ciroc. Jay-Z got this new thing, 50 Cent got FN. But Jay-Z's like on a whole nother demonic level with this, man. I heard he's talking about building a casino in the heart of 42nd Street. That means people who used to take the bus and had to worry about getting transportation to go to Atlantic City or Foxwood can now be broke and be off the train and wait for the casino to open up. Now remember, he would be the face behind it. And I also heard that they were talking about having Grandmaster flashing them face on a slot machine. You know, when they pull it down, their faces come up like the numbers. Hip-hop characters. Yo, man, all I'm saying is they're moving in a different place, right? Hip-hop is now in the Olympics for 2028. I think B.Boy is 2024. Now,
I thought it was just breakdancing.
That's 2024.
Okay.
But I'm talking about the whole culture
Really?
is going to be in 2028. Right? So who's going to be teaching classes? White people from Harvard who have never been. They say, oh, I've been there. Just like a lot of people say they was at Cedric and Cedric. All of a sudden, when it hits the media and all comes out, everybody was there. Stop lying.
Right.
That place is too small. Right? And I'm not taking away. Taking away nothing that happened over there, because you know I hear a lot of different stuff. You know, maybe the dates was fabricated because it was a pencil flyer. But remember this, Mario, myself, we used to play in the carriage room in Bronxdale. Y'all don't incorporate that in this, right? The carriage room was a small little room, and I got footage of that.
You got footage? Yeah.
I got footage of the carriage room being open.
Oh, okay.
Right? So what I'm simply saying is this. There was so much history that was overlooked. If Mario was here and alive today in his right mind, there would be no way in the world that Mario would let this go.
Right.
It just couldn't happen.
Right.
You understand? It just couldn't happen. It's like saying Malcolm X wasn't down with the Nation of Islam. You understand? You can't whitewash that. The truth is the truth. But I'm just simply saying that if we stuck together and we done things correctly, instead of letting this thing take over. Yes, a lot of people were hurt. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people felt that they were jerked in this game.
Right.
You understand? They didn't get their just due. I understand that. But overall, there should be no reason why we don't own the name hip-hop. Doesn't make no sense. Events that we should have been given, like I've always said, because I've helped out Bam and them do a lot of the Zulu Nation anniversary and bring it to the next level. I used to say, listen, man, we should be in Madison Square Garden. At the very least, the theater in Madison Square Garden. Or all the people that we know. These cats would just love to come and sign off, but business. If you ain't business, corporate America gonna be looking like, yo, listen, if y'all don't know how to sit down and organize this and make money for us, y'all can't make money for yourselves. But this is why I say, should it be wrong if Eminem and his crew start saying that they started hip-hop? Because this is how things is going if we don't organize. The stuff is being taken away from us every day, right? But when you look at the history of this, it's important to document your history so you know where you're going and know how this started. I'm not down with all this provocative stuff that's going on in hip-hop. Remember, I made the transition with Millie Jackson, Little Kim, Darlene from Ice-T. You got the Janet Jacksons. Then you got on down to Sukihana and all of these Dojo Cat and all this new Cardi B and Ice Spice. They're leading this young generation into perversion, whoredom. Nobody's natural anymore. What is that all about, man? You glorifying things that immorality is taking over. If you do something immoral, oh, you're going to get props. If you do something right, that's boring. Don't make sense. You know what I mean?
Not pushing it.
It's
underground.
It's crazy. So that's why a lot of mature people backed out of hip-hop. Because they see where it's going. This is real, man. This is nothing to play with. You got to tape.
This might have been one of our 80s tape from Rosedale Park. Nasty Cousins, right? So like I said, during that middle era 80s, that's when we was calling ourselves Nasty Cousins. Before that, it was just...
What kind of tape is that? Turn that tape around and see. What kind of tape is that? Is that a TDK tape? Oh, wow. So this thing you know, man.
These. I'm glad I documented a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
I got to give him credit for that. I didn't really have the time to do that, but this is where he came in. Very instrumental and very important that we needed that, man.
I got stuff as early as 1980. The earliest stuff that.
What about when we played against Bam? And
That's 80.
And
100 Park.
Wow.
100 Park.
Which means
it
a
was
battle.
like a battle.
Yeah.
Yes, man.
They around my birthday. We always, summertime, we would, like I said, Parks, you know what happened? When 82 came, Planet Rock came out, Bam got hit records. He's touring. Bam always had other people supplying the sound system, whether it was Superman, Jazzy Jay, even our sound system.
He used to come to our sound
in Kips Bay, 82. Jazzy 5, we got tapes of that. That 70s era, we was the surviving DJs. It was coming up in the 70s that kept doing it. Mario, Tex, Cool D, his brother, they left the Parks. We was doing parks and indoor stuff. We just kept on going. With jobs, though. With jobs.
Yo, man, it's so much stuff, Mike, that if we were talking, I could come back, because that's why sometimes I go beer here, because there's so much in the brain. And because I made a different shift in my life, staying focused and preparing myself to meet Jesus Christ. There's so much and so many people, and I'm not glorifying myself. I've helped in this game, right? From Flash, from Mean Gene. Mean Gene used to go with my sister, you know, with Ecstasy Garage.
Talking 1980.
I mean, we got tapes with Grandmaster Cass. Yo, Cool Clyde, 9 Last Little Shot Rock. Yo, come to the front. They coming up next. You understand? They know this is.
We like the crew that was there, the unsung, the true unsung of all the pioneers and legends of hip hop. Because we came up with them when nobody was pioneers. When nobody was pioneers, there was the first era, that first decade of hip hop. We was active.
And when we was active, we also gave them a lot of light when they wasn't getting it. they would get light because we would keep their name going on the flyers and doing our events.
Stardust Ballroom
All
parties,
of them, man.
T
That's
Connection,
a lot of
Claremont
rides.
Gym,
Claremont, I
Mitchell
mean,
Gym, you name it.
it's so many events that we have. Sometimes I have to sit back and I don't even realize until people come up to me like, yo, you a legend, yo, you did. And sometimes, yo, you don't remember you did. I'm like, sometimes I don't be remembering this until they tell me these
Tell
things.
them about the Run DMC and
Oh man, that's another thing. That's for the book though. But I remember, Andre Harrell him and Russell Simmons was in management, and they had booked Run DMC to be in an event, and it was a fallout. Something happened where Run DMC couldn't perform. They had another show somewhere. So Andre Harrell was scrambling, trying to figure this out. Andre Harrell from Bronxdale, from Uptown Records, who became he got $1 million deal with Motown Records.
We known him since the 70s.
We know. Andre used to hang out with us back here. That private house right there, he used to hang out with a guy named BB and Leroy Macklin. He knows the family very well. He used to come to our house, my house right there on the second floor as well. We all hung out. All of us. It was nothing to us.
That was your window right there?
Yeah, that's my window. I'm putting it on blast, man. But anyway, what I'm simply saying to you is this. For whatever reason, Run and them had an event, and Run DMC and Grandmaster Jay and them had an event somewhere. And Andre Harrell had them booked to do an event and had people outside waiting. He was scrambling. He called me up, my cousin, and my MC Dynamite D, and we and we performed in the place of Run DMC.
There was no videos.
There was no videos, and people didn't know. You know what I'm saying? What they look like, because this was in the early stage.
They only had them 2 records out. It's Like That and Suck
If Russell Simmons only knew this, it would have been a lot of lawsuits back then.
Yeah?
Yeah, brother. Like I said, there's a lot of unsung stuff that we know. Listen, I brought James M. Tume. He did the song with Stephanie Mills, Roberta Flack. He worked with Miles Davis. I brought the Kiss FM family, Judge Pickett, M. Tume, Bob Slade, Peter Noel. I brought them all here, Cutman, to Rosedale Park to give honor to Disco King Mario, man. Come on, man. This thing was going to be off the chains. Loose Cannon, Bazoy Rael. So many different artists that came through. I was giving props to. Look, I'm from TW Local 100. You know, I was driving the buses.
Both of us worked for Trez.
I had our unions come out. The union leads came out, they sponsored the events. You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of people came and they was in support of this thing. BronxNet came and set up their big cameras and everything. So many people. My man Dean Meminger from New York One did a piece. So many of them came out and did it. So then we also had, let me give BronxNet a shout out because they was very instrumental in helping us getting this word out. I said shout out to Gary Axelbank, you know, Rena Valentine, you know, Dr. Bob Lee, Darren Jaime, Michael Max Nobby. He's the director over there. So you know, all of them would be a part of what we've done, and how I used to do to get back. I would invite them to events like the Zulu Nation anniversary events. So different people would come out, man, and support this thing. And so, like I said, this thing, I had visions in my head. Because remember, before they started to move us from Rosedale Park, I had the Raising Kings and Queens paying tribute to the pioneers in Mario, getting ready I had something set up in Harlem. So once we left here this week, we was getting ready to go to Harlem. And then I was getting ready to set up something in Queens and then in Brooklyn. So it would have been this Bronxdale thing would have been in all the boroughs. And then it was ready to take off to other states. But it had to start. But this is where a lot of separation came in, because I was thinking globally. You understand what I'm saying? And I was moving with this thing. And then when it's that time, you gotta move when the time is right. You know? Yeah. But then a lot of stuff, when I look back at Bronxdale, like the Black Space, used to be out there when Mario and them used to be playing. And he used to be doing the Snake off of Rock Creek. That was his anthem song, Rock Creek Park. Right? And he used to play on the other side of it, Happy Music. That was another joint. And he used to play Just Begun. He used to play the Mexican on Funkadelic. To the roof off the sucker, to the roof off the mother sucker, to the roof off the sucker.
Yeah.
That was break. We wasn't calling them break beats back then.
What was your signature song?
Man,
what was the question?
We would
Like
play like
your anthem song.
For us?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a good question, man. I mean, we played all kind of songs. Like, a lot of the break beats, I was inspired mainly from the Master of Records from Bambaatta. Because remember, I used to hang out in Bronxdale and Bronxdale. I used to hang out with Wade. Wade was the president of the Shaka Zulu. I got an exclusive interview with Wade in his house in Bronxdale with my little cousin Malika. She was on Law and Order with Ice-T. She was an actress. She's from California. But I got an exclusive interview with Wade. We were talking about the history of the Shaka Zulus, right? Because remember, the Zulu Kings was our first, but it was a little feud between the Shaka Zulus and Zulu Kings because they was like our older brothers. You understand? It wasn't no, not like that, but it was like, you know, like, come on, man. So Bam said, you know what? Stop the Shaka Zulus, and Wade, you're going to be the president. Me and Wade was like the best of friends. They always thought we were brothers because we had the light eyes and we was light skinned. We always hung out. We had the afros, right? And I knew his younger brother and his sister and all that. But I'm going to name some brand names.
Remember, we was talking about ages. Me and Wade is the same age, so he's 4 years younger than me.
Right.
So it goes to show you, he was hanging with the older guys early.
Yeah, I was that type to be in 123. I remember one time, Mario and them used to have a van to carry the equipment over to 123, and it broke down. Cool D and them used to have a van. What's Cool D's? Damn, it's slipping my mind. Al Black. He used to have a truck called Al Black and carry the equipment. But one time, Mario was scheduled to be in 123, had the flyers and everything out. The van broke down. But remember, Bronxdale wasn't too far from 123. All his brothers, his cousins, gave all his carrying crates of records, speakers. We was carrying them across the bridge to 123. They know if I'm bringing this up, they're going to be like, oh, Clyde is bringing us back. They in stitches right now because they remember that. And back in the days, Little D from Bronxdale, he was a stick-up kid. He was 13 years old. He used to be in the front smoking the L's, the Monster Dust, chilling. Remember, he was a stick-up kid at 13 years old with green and white Pumas on. That was a limited. You couldn't get it. And I used to think, the way he got up, he used to see cats, yo, you got to run them joints. And then he would come to the party, sporting them, smoking dust right there and right in front of 123 inside the gym while Mario and them is blasting the sound system inside the gym. Yo, man, and everybody used to be doing the freak and the hustle in there, man. This was a certain time, man. And it was like when you hear the vibration of the music on the outside before you get in, just the Juju Man by Passport, they know what I'm talking about.
Everything was new and fresh then. So imagine you as a shorty coming up.
And then you talking about, for me, the biggest B.Boy dance out of all. This was it for me in Bronx River. It was Beaver versus Puppet Master. That was bananas. Why? Because they had two different styles, and these cats were nasty.
Was Beaver one of the best?
Beaver was, for us, he was the best.
And Puppet Master hung out with me. He was the dude that had got me smoking weed in 76, Rodney Beneby. Puppet Master was his older cousin.
And what was crazy about Puppet Master, remember I told you his styles was different. It's like Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali fighting in their prime. Both of them. Who you think is going to win? People was like, yo, they're two different. They got two different styles.
Where was this at?
This was in Bronx River, man. Because we always looked to Beaver to come. Because Beaver had a brother too. But we always looked, Beaver was the one. If anybody was break dancing and trying to take, we go,
What was this, like 77, 78, 79?
This probably, no, I'm going to be honest with you, this is probably like maybe 75, 76.
Yeah, early, yeah.
It was
Maybe
early in the game,
77.
somewhere in that era. This was before the Rocksteady crew got there.
Right. Who was DJing then?
You had Zambu, Africa Zambu.
That was DJing
Africa
at that
Islam.
time?
This was before Jazzy.
Yes.
Remember, Jazzy came around 79. Before that, it was Zambu, and then Africa Islam, then Jazzy.
And then they used to play also. Bronx River had 2 centers. I got pictures with that too. It was a small little center that they used to play in. There's a spot over here on Commonwealth Avenue in Westchester. Their house is there right now. It's about 2 or 3 blocks from here. It was called Ronnie's Disco Inferno. Bambaatta used to play in there. He gave an event in there. And I remember from Bronx River, a lot of people don't get it. I'm going to name some brand names. Stevie from Bronx River. I remember, what's his name? Kusa. He used to work in Bronxdale Project in housing. He was one of Zulu Kings. He used to be dancing there off of Jimmy Bohorn. Ease up your mind. I can remember this clear as day. And that was almost 45 years ago, man. This is a lot of history here. But when I talk about Bronx River, I name some brand names. RDJ, B.O, Bug Out, Alvin. Queen Latifah used to come. She used to date a girl in Bronx River. A lot of people don't know the history. I'm being honest with you. I'm talking about the history of all this. I'm talking about who else used to come through there. We had an event that BET came into Bronx River and had all the Zulus outside. And they got us on tape, right? So and then they gave an exclusive interview on the side. It was me. I got this footage. It was me, Mr. Biggs from Soul Sonic Force, Rocky Bucano, who's over there running the HipHop Museum, Grandmaster Flash, Ahmed, which we called them Billy back in the days. And those are those names that we grew up with before they got these names.
You said Rocky Museum? A guy named Rocky Museum? He goes back with hip-hop like that?
Rocky got down. He was part of Jazzy Jay with Strong City Records.
Before that, wasn't he come off school?
Yeah.
From up in the valley.
And up in the valley, and he used to be, I think he used to manage the Stardust Ballroom. Right? So he had his dealings in hip. I'm not going to discredit, take nothing away from these cats.
Okay.
Right? Because you never want to get on social media because we're talking. And it's not about, this is about sharing information about our history.
Right.
This is not about trying to put anybody down. This is some rich stuff that people know that if you're in your right state of mind and you're dropping these type of jewels right now, this means something to the history of what hip-hop has laid, the foundation. Right? And this is the importance of this. Right? But there's so many names that come through. Daryl Clinton, cats from Bronx River. What's up, man? Who else was there? I said Stevie, he used to be B.Boy, Skirpy, RDJ, Popeye. It's so many. Listen, man.
Yeah, Wade told me Popeye was like the first Shaka Zulu, something like that.
Yeah, he was. Listen, Wade can tell you better than I can. That was his. Remember, I stay in my lane. I was down with the Shaka Zulus, and I remember having a Zulu Nation card, and there was an application at that time in the beginning. And I said, yo, Bam.
You had a membership card.
A membership. This dude who I used to DJ with in this building, you know, his name was Ant. And he wanted to get down with Zulus. So I said, don't worry about it. I'm going to talk to Bam. I'm going to get you down. And so Bam says, yo, man, I don't want no bird brains down with Zulus. And he kind of laughed, though. But that was a little funny thing that was back in the day. But it was all good, though. Yeah. But other than that, when I look back and I trace my history with Bronxdale, I was with the Bamboo Crew, as I said earlier. And then also, the Bamboo Crew, we also had a crew called the Paradise Crew. That was with the Nelsons. That's with Boogie Black. We call him Lindell.
But he
right?
was a baby, right?
He was young.
That's his roots from.
That's
Yeah.
that's his roots.
So the Bamboo Crew, what was that comprised of?
That was me.
No, I mean, like, was that hip hop or that was just a crew?
No, that was hip hop. That's when we was DJing.
Yeah.
We was inspired by Mario, man. We used to play outside. Remember, Bronxdale in the second section, they used to be my Bamboo Crew. Tony Laws used to live on the first floor. And later on, he had to move out because they put the housing police in there. But we used to plug up out of his house, the extension cord. We used to DJ right outside, right there with the Paradise Group. Records we used to play was Indiscreet by DC LaRue, Catch a Groove by Juice. These are the records that we was playing.
So
Shangri-La, that was Nelson's joint.
Y'all was dancers and DJs and MCs or just...
Oh, we was B-boying and DJs.
Okay. And the Bamboo Crew.
The Bamboo Crew.
Paradise Crew. There was a lot of crews back then.
It was.
See, the difference was once you had a sound system
Right.
come outside and play in the parks. That was the whole key. Once you coming in the parks with the big speakers, instead of you getting 10 and 15 people in the carriage room or in the house party, now you can get hundreds. And now your name is going all over. So you had a lot of crews. If they didn't have the sound system, the amplifiers, they was limited. And then they faded off.
Right.
And we had a lot of connection with a lot of people.
There was cool.
You had the McDynasty crew, Paradise crew, the Come Off crew. There was so many different people that was doing their thing.
Mac Dynasty Crew?
Oh yes.
What, a Macintosh amp or something like that, or?
I don't know if that had any connection to do with that, but I think that was their name.
Where was they from?
I think it was Bronx Riverside.
Or either over by
Lambert's, like in that area, like the Eminem crew and all of that.
Eminem? What's that?
Yeah, the Eminem crew came from Lambert Projects. That was over there from Raheem and them is from, and I think Chirac and them was from that
And
side.
what years is this?
And what's his name from? He was DJ at. Oh, Donald D. MC Donald D. was from Lambert.
This is all in the 70s?
We're going to say 77. I'm going to tell you, when the blackout came, a lot of people got equipment that way.
Right.
77, 78, 79, a lot of crews. But once you came out with the big speakers and the amps, now you're taking off to a different
And
level.
how did Mario get some of that equipment too? Kids used to get their summer youth corps checks. They used to get stuck up. And they used to have to pay money to get that sound. Unfortunately, listen, we wasn't working. Some people had to do what they had to do.
Would y'all say the 1977 blackout changed hip hop?
Well, it gave more light to people getting equipment.
Yeah,
Remember,
that's what I mean.
That word hip hop still wasn't thrown around like that.
Right. Okay. Did it
76,
change the
77.
culture? Did the
didn't
culture
change
get
no
bigger?
culture.
Did
More DJs and MC, more DJs started coming.
Right.
But the difference was how long did they last?
Right. We was consistent with this. We kept going.
There was a lot of crews that stayed around a short period of time.
And we just kept going to the transition up until the present time. And that's when I look back, I've got these pictures to document on. See, I don't just talk. I've got stuff with Ice-T in the studio with us with no jewelry on, with the ponytail with me, him, and Jazzy Jay and Africa Islam. I got stuff when he called us down. I don't want to talk about it. They had crazy arsenals back in the days. And, they would come in New York. I call my sister, Africa Islam is in town. She come down, we all meet up downtown. We just had a good time, man. You understand? It was a certain time. I remember when LL and who was it? It was LL and Ice-T had beef. Remember, they was both. Ice-T was down with Zulus. And Bam had to squash this. My cousin gave an event. I think it was in Dancer Church. She gave me my cousin Maria Davis. She was also a big-time promoter. And they was at her event. She had LL and them and Ice-T. So at that time, Bam called the Zulus and told them, they got to squash that beef. it couldn't go on. And then you notice later on, LL started dropping Zulu Nation in his records. It's a joint called Chill. Eat 'em up, L, chill. And then he talk about Zulu Nation. If you Google that, you hear it's a lot of stuff that went on, man. That all of this is intertwining. How this thing. Madonna was part of hip hop. We used to play in Roxy's on 18th Street and 12th Avenue. We used to freak her out.
What do you mean freak out?
See, Madonna is a Zulu. Cyndi Lauper is Zulu. They come from the Zulu Nation, man. Trace the history. This ain't nothing new. Because Bam was very instrumental in bringing the different cultures together. Like white people was kind of, let's be realistic, they were scared to party with us. But because all of that punk rock stuff came in, and Bam, and then Bam kept it where it was peace.
That record came out 82 changed.
After a while, it was like whites and blacks coming together in the roads. It was like nothing. You understand? So then it evolved. That's why we don't want to erase Bambaatta, because he brought a lot of history to the game.
Yeah.
Right? And you can't take nothing from him. He mentioned us. His video footage when he talked about me, Lance, Cool D, and all of us who played in Rosedale Park. He knows the history of this. Nobody can't deny it. I did stuff with Kool Herc. You know, all of these cats. My brother used to run with Breakout. You know.
When it was just first coming out. 77, 78.
All of this, man. You know,
his brother's 3 years older than me.
My brother's
so
7
like
years
7
older.
years older than him.
And he was one of Bam's #1 B-boys, too. So, like I said, man, this history...
Your brother was a what? Shaka Zulu or Zulu King?
Huh?
You said he was with the
He
Zulu?
was a Zulu. I believe my brother was Zulu King. They were older. We was like the young, just like Gestapo crew. I was a little Gestapo crew, right? Because like Pooh and them was older than us. We was like they little brothers. You understand? But they respected us because we would run. If we ever had people, they ain't gonna tell us, yo, get out of here. They like, yo, they rolling with us. If I had beef, Curly and them from Winston, and Blackjack, little Cleveland Blackjack, come on, man. I'd have no problems. A. Jackson, all of them from the second section, the whole Nelson family. Come on, man. This is a lot. This is a lot. Black Jerry and us used to ride motorbikes. God rest in peace. You know, he used to smoke the la-la and be on the motorbikes. I used to drive a bike. He used to say fat tires. There's a lot of history here, man. A lot. And cats who had a lot of break beats that was inspired from them was Douglas, a guy named Hicks from Trio, this Kino from the third section in Bronxdale. We talking about us, we had tons of records.
We were like the Little Masters of records.
Right. That's a good name. He's bringing it out for the first time.
Bam used to come over to where, remember I told you, my crew was from Lafayette.
What was the name of Lafayette at one time?
This was now it's LIP. Now they
call
it
I'm
LIP.
sorry, you said you gave Lafayette a name one time that they used to call it. I forgot what they used to call it. Lad of the City or Life of the City or something you mentioned. You probably just go.
LIP stands for Living in Paradise.
That's what it was.
Living in Paradise.
I shouldn't have cut you off.
You came from over there. You basically came from a lot of two-parent household. You had a little more money than like on the other side of the bridge, Watson. You know. So, but I started my career over there where I grew up at and whatnot. And Herc used to be a security guard over there.
Yeah?
It was back in the day.
Herc used to buy records from Uptown, by Gun Hill train station on the 5 train. It's a lot of history. But what I used to like about that era, when we used to play music, we would go into stores and interact. Downstairs records. Downstairs moved in about 3 different locations. But I'm talking about the original downstairs when it was on 42nd Street in the train station. My man Willie Dynamite used to work for downstairs records. And a lot of our records used to come through there.
Used to go everywhere for records. Corvettes, DJ Corvettes, downstairs, disco man.
I tell you another thing. We knew the Jazzy 5 MCs, but what brought us together was one thing. We had a small little incident. Remember, when I say an incident, it wasn't like we trying to run. We had an incident. EJ Corvettes had shut down one day.
Okay.
And we thought to bring our sound system out there. And the Jazzy 5 was wanting to bring their sound system out there. So it was like, yo, somebody ain't playing out here. Somebody ain't playing. So what happened was, because remember, we like family, the minds. Why don't we do this together? We did it together, and it was the biggest event. I would say the biggest event in the Bronx outside. Ain't nobody bigger than Corvettes.
What we talking about was that.
Jack in the Box is over there. Come on, man.
I got a question for y'all. Katona Park. Do you remember like the beginning of that? Because that is now like a prominent hip hop place, holding events.
That came later after the events we was doing in
I think it came a year after we started up the Disco King Mario thing.
Wow. So Katona Park back then wasn't a place for hip hop events?
Well, they might have been playing
I'm saying like in the 90s.
80s. You gotta understand, a lot of DJs that were coming in the parks in the 70s and early 80s, they faded away. 90s, they faded away. We in the 6th decade of hip hop right now. We come from the first decade, the first era.
That's why you getting the real, true, authentic stuff. This ain't no made up stuff. This ain't nobody coming from Scarsdale or Harvard University coming to take a picture with us right now, and then they writing a book saying that they've been a part of hip-hop.
Right.
No, you're talking about the birth of this. We lived this before it even had its name, it's even had its title, when people was dipping and getting money. Cats in Bronxdale and cats in Brooklyn, but cats in Bronxdale like Jordan. I don't want to be dropping some names, but my man Ant, you know what I'm talking about. Little Keith, LK, all of them used to be up there black. They was, remember, Blackjack, it was Big Black. Cleveland was Little Black. Then you had other black. Then you had Dino Black. So they went through certain phases. But the middle black was major pickpocketing. I used to be driving the bus and you would hear coming across the sound system, protect your watches and wallets and everything. Where did it come from? It came from them. That's the reason why the New York City Transit had to start announcing this, because they would bump into you and slow them and that's what they were doing.
Shout out to Green Eye Stan.
Green Eye Genie and all that. But remember, Bronxdale, when they was doing karate in the basement, before those early stages, the cats in Bronxdale used to rob Pathmark. They used to just walk in there. Who was stopping the black spades in the 70s? What security guard is going to stop the black spades? They will walk in there and take meat with lab coats on and be walking through the project, selling them to the family like, what y'all want to eat tonight? Steaks. Because cats wasn't rich in the projects. Steak was like, that was a huge meal to people. Steaks was like $22 for a big pack of steaks.
Right.
These cats would be walking through the project selling the steaks. Yo, this is some real stuff, man. This is a lot of history here, my brother.
I'm going to drop one jewel. Even if Herc is the father of hip-hop, I'm going to say the movement came from this side. That movement, that hip-hop movement came from over here.
Right.
See, that's why I said, when Mario got ill, everything changed. We kept it alive. But if Mario's voice, because remember, our last events that we were doing in Soundview, I saw Disco King Mario, and I called him over to the sound system, and he chilled with us by the turntables. that meant a lot to me. I couldn't take that, bro. I don't care, no matter what he was going through out there in the world, his struggles, that man laid this foundation down globally for us. You don't disrespect that. He used to be sitting in the park in his prime. He always loved Spanish women, though. I gotta say that. That was Mario's thing. And they used to walk around with the Chuck City shirts on. Yo, Mario used to be doing the snake in the park with his hat. Y'all remember the big round hat? And then he would have like a little rope or something around the neck, and it would hold the hat on his back. And he'd be doing the snake Chuck City. And then he came out later on with the traffic, with the LED lights, with the blinkers and the 9-volt battery on the side. It looked like a tennis hat. The top part was cut off, and you had to run, and it had the LED lights in the front. You Google that, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It had the 9-volt battery. But Mario was before his time, and then when he brought the traffic lights out in Rosedale Park, I don't know what this man, was thinking about, man. But he was before his time, man. And Ron and them used to set up the sound system. The Big Mac crew, a lot of people forget about them. They was part of Chuck City, man. This is real, man.
Anybody that's considered an icon or like a legendary DJ, they came from Mario. They was rocking with Mario. Jazzy Jay, before he got with Bam, he was with Mario.
Love Buck Scars,
Kenny
used to
K.
play all of them. Kenny K.
K Connection. He formed K Connection later on, early first decade of hip-hop. He was underneath Mario. 78, he was with Mario. Busy B. Starsky, he was with Mario before he got with the L Brothers. L Brothers is early. So if he was with Mario before he got with the L Brothers, that's telling you something.
And why this is not being talked about, right? Because Mario wasn't really here to defend himself, right? And that's why I wish we had Tex's voice, because Tex would have been able to articulate this very well.
Tex DJ Hollywood, and I'm here with the first man to put together a scratch record, and I'm here with DJ Cool Clyde.
He would have been able to. That's why I got a little interview with him too.
When
right?
you gonna put that out,
yeah,
bro?
man. But I got so much stuff. I got stuff that we did with KRS-One.
Oh yeah.
Listen, I always wanted to bring this up, then I brought KRS-One up. I don't think there's an MC that can take KRS-One out.
Okay.
Now, there might be an MC that can give him competition, but to say, yo, he took him out, that can't happen. But here's what I want to say. For me, because he was out before KRS-One, if his prime was to battle KRS-One in his prime, it would have been a crazy battle. And that's Pow Wow from the Soul Sonic Force. Pow Wow was with him and Jazzy together, he was rapping on Mario's sound system, Pow Wow from the Soul Sonic Force, on Mario's system in Rosedale Park. And Jazzy Jay was cutting up Bobby Bird. I Know You Got Soul. And Pow Wow was rapping with a pick in his head, an afro pick in his afro. And he was talking about the nappy boy didn't comb his hair. He was saying, yo, he was just so much into what he was saying. That's the first time I looked, I said, this dude is nasty. And remember, cats like KRS-One was inspired from somebody like a Pow Wow, because they came out later on.
Right.
But if Pow Wow was to be in his prime and would have still kept going on to this day with KRS-One, people would say that would be and Jazzy was like, Jazzy Jay was the beast on beats. You know, it wouldn't be, no Swiss beats and all of them. Jazzy Jay was the Swiss beats of our time. You understand? Jazzy Jay was...
He programmed a lot of beats.
No joke. You got to give him credit.
Ceremony, Brand Nubian stuff. He was no joke, bro.
Tila Rock, he did a lot of stuff, man, for people, man. Remember.
Very talented. Made speakers. He knows about sound systems.
He was
More than just a DJ.
Yeah, he was very good. And I always admire dudes like that because knowing electricity. I remember one time where I did a show with Breakout and Baron and them. I think on Soundview, they brought out a monster sound system.
Sasquatch. They got
Sasquatch. Oh, they came out. I gotta give them. They came out there. They had so much power. They was draining electricity from the generator that we had. But then there was a time where they came in Rosedale Park when Baron came out there with his amps, and his stuff kept flickering off. But because of Superman and Jazzy Jay were like beasts when it comes to electricity and hooking up sounds and making speakers. Soup just came over there with a Barbie, like a clip, and he stuck it inside the amp and clicked and held it down, and it never chirped and went off. That shows you that this man could just think of stuff without even thinking. He knew what the problem, and Baron couldn't figure that out. Superman and Jazz figured it out just like that. That Roots. It's a picture that I got with Mario out there. He got his stuff on garbage cans. Got a picture of that. I got to show that. Listen, man, I wish we had a lot of early days of Mario. Mario was the first person to talk on national television.
Then they get tight. Then that one said, let's play hooky, man. We ain't learning that no way. So let's cut out. That's when you get to the point that kids drop out of school. What they do, they jump into crime. Because that's the only thing that's giving them money. They can't jump out of school into a job because there's no job.
Yes. So when you hear others say they was on national TV as a rapper, he was the first one to talk. It was the differences, and I don't bring it up much but we have to tell the truth, because back then, a lot of them really didn't get education from school, right? And the reporter asked Mario, could you spell a word? And the word was green. He couldn't spell it. So it was a little bit, taken a certain way. But that doesn't take nothing away from who Mario was. Remember, if you in the streets, you in the streets. Do you understand what I'm saying? We all had struggles. There might be certain things that I can't remember how to spell today. Does that make me less of who I am? That don't take away who you are. But that's why I give Mario much credit. Now, he might have fell on some hard times. Things happen. I'm only talking about what he brought to the culture of hip-hop and around the world. And people know. And you need to play that video attached to this when Tupac's cousin is talking about how Tupac was inspired from Disco King Mario.
When I turn to get ready to leave, Pac is still turning around looking at Disco King Mario, mesmerized, And I like to think that that was his first introduction to hearing our music.
Right.
And seeing our culture.
That's important, man. All of these things. And when you talk about my history and talking about this hip-hop museum, I've got the Bronx Times articles talking about that. With the Assemblyman in it. Before he became the Bronx Borough President, he knew. When you go to CeeLo's restaurant in Bronxdale, I had signs and pictures up in there talking about we need to vote to get this hip-hop museum. I was on 98.7 KISS with one of the elected officials who got locked up, which was Larry Seabrooks. We was going to bring the hip-hop museum originally. Was going to be Uptown by the T Connection. But my spirit didn't set right with that. So then I was thinking about we need to have it over by the Bronx River and Story Avenue. Right now, back there, it's like a movie house back there. I thought that would have been a good place for it. And then I said, you know what? It should have been Yankee Stadium. Hip-hop should not be reduced. I'm not taking nothing away what's going on right now. But that's like really a cover-up. That's not to me, that's not a real official hip-hop museum. That's a face. Apartments is going to be renting on that. They are the ones who's paying for that space. Although a lot of money was allotted for that. You're talking about hip-hop is a multi-billion-dollar business. That business should have been Yankee Stadium. Don't you think Yankee Stadium should be the size of the hip-hop museum? What genre of music is bigger than hip-hop right now? It's all over it's everything. That's why I was a little annoyed with the 50th year of hip-hop in Yankee Stadium. Because it should have been organized much better than that. It was like rushed through. And it was almost like a Nas or, Fat Joe, Snoop Dogg concert, where it should have been really dedicated to the legends.
In other words, it was more to the people that made the most money,
Right.
and people got made the most, they feel the impact from that, say that 90s era on. Not too much the 80s and before the 80s. I guess it took it as a business too. It didn't take it as like a ground rule from the beginning.
Let me ask y'all. All these jams across the Bronx I've been witnessing all these years. Cedric Avenue, 1520 Cedric Avenue. Have y'all ever saw a jam over there?
Well, I'm going to tell you like this. Remember, let's say Herc was doing his thing, 73, 74.
I'm saying after her, during the 80s, 1980s. You ever
on that side like that.
You ever heard about a jam over there?
No. Not in that little room, no.
Or because there's a park right next to it. You ever heard about any jams over there?
Cedar Park.
No, not Cedar Park. I'm talking about that building.
No.
Next to the building.
What park?
There's a little playground out there.
Well, that's why we don't know, because there's nothing but...
So even Cedar Park, you ever heard anything in the 80s in Cedar
Not
Park?
the 80s.
No? Okay.
70s.
What about
I heard he didn't do that many jams out there
Right.
in Cedar.
Right.
Remember, Herc wasn't a good DJ.
Okay.
Number one. I ain't going to take nothing away from him.
Well, I'm saying after Herc, I'm talking about as far as the community, the way y'all picked up the mantle for Mario. I'm trying to find out if Cedric Avenue ever pick up the mantle after Coke, Rock, and Herc and continue the jam.
Nobody was doing over there.
Right.
I think the closest over there was 82 Park. That's over there off University.
Yeah, because I never heard of anything over there.
The thing is that...
But they got Hip Hop Boulevard. But there's no hip hop events over there.
That's recent. Yeah, the Hip Hop Boulevard is recent.
Right.
See, but again, things become commercialized, and I'm not taking away from people. People are grabbing and getting in where they can fit in, and they could do something. When you stick together, things can get done. What I'm saying is, it's a lot of things. Like Rosedale Park should be named the birthpark of hip hop. Right? We got the street name for Mario. That's great, but now it needs to be murals on the handball courts and showing all the people that came through here. You understand? From the Cool D, Mix Out of Tyrone, the Grand West Theater, the Light Labs, the Cool Clyde, the Bambaatta, the Flashes, the Love Bug Starskis. All of these people, even Tupac's name should be up there. Andre Harrell should be up there, right? A lot of cats should be up on that wall. Named and listed that came and played through there. Not taking nothing away from Herc. Herc's name could be up on that wall too, because he came through there, right? But there was so many people, and this is why this needs to be documented now. Because if you don't, it's going to get lost. They're going to put somebody else's name up there, put other people's pictures up there.
They already did it, Sotomayor.
So,
another park on the west side that they was jamming at, like later 70s, 80s, Nelson Park.
Okay.
That's down the block from like High Bridge area. But as far as Cedar Park itself, I didn't hear about anybody really rocking it in the 80s or the 90s.
See, that's the thing when commercial and things start to get commercial, a lot of people try to jump in and fit in and try to create something. Right? And say, oh, remember, as I said earlier, in Cedric, you know, a lot of people said that they was over there at this jam. The place is too small for all these people the size of Madison Square Garden. Say, yo, I was there. That's, you know, that's fabricated. Like Trump said, President 45 said fake news. This is fake hip-hop news. This is just a thing where the media, everybody has a voice now. Everybody could say something. But when truth comes in, the truth pierces through a person's heart, and you can't deny that truth. Right? And what happens is a lot of times people don't want the truth to get out because there's deals that have been made already, and then you can mess people's deals up by bringing truth out.
Right.
Because now those deals might have to be undid, and now you're messing with people's livelihoods now. Right? So that's why it's important for you to document this stuff, get this stuff right over here. All right, they got their stuff over there. Let's bring this to fruition and let us stick together. And not everybody, oh, I did this. Nah, man, we did this collectively.
Look at your sister now.
You understand?
That's your sister. We can get in this video.
So, what's up, sis?
What's up, Colette?
Hello.
How you doing? That's my sister right there. That's you could pan to her.
Okay.
That's
How you doing?
Shamba. She used to go to Africa Islam back in the days.
Okay.
Come on. What's up? You know, she was out there at Rosedale Park supporting us. You want to
Yeah,
say a little
definitely.
something about this? And don't say this because you're my sister. Say what you really know. She's shy now. But she know, I'll get her start talking. She'll be like, yeah. But this is a lot of history. All I'm saying is,
Hey, Lamb.
there's a lot of history here, and it needs to definitely finally be told. And like I said, there's tons of stuff that we're not even talking about, right? I'm just giving you a little taste of stuff that we've talked about. You know, I was at work one day, one of my coworkers said to me, yo man, this was like 3 o'clock in the morning. He was driving the bus. And he's like, yo man, he came to me, he said, yo man, Swiss Beats was talking about you, man. What? Because the dude asked Swiss Beats dude, you know, he's like, yeah, you talking about the legend? You talking about Cool Clyde? Yeah, we know who he is. Hey, what's happening? All right now. So there's a lot of history, and people know. Even Flash, one of my other coworkers told me Flash gave me a shout out on Sirius Radio because they had something, they was talking about all the legend DJs. You understand, that's been there. You know, I've helped them out when Flash had a studio in Harlem. I helped them out a lot. I got pictures with all of these cats, man. Just tons and tons of pictures of people and video stuff, man, that, you know, that we have done, and that is, we just never really had the time, but now, you know, getting closer, I'm able to put certain things together and finally let the world see what's out there, man.
I just say we are thankful that we didn't have to survive through hip-hop for us to take care of ourselves and our family. Our moms and dad always told us to get a job. Get a job. Do your music, secondary, get a job. And I've been working 40 years straight. I'm retired now. I'm touching everything that moves. Your bar mitzvah, your sweet 16, your backyard cookout, your birthday party, your retirement ditty, family reunion, your wedding reception or divorce party. You're hired. I get it popping.
Now, and for me, I do interviews, documentaries. I'm serving the Lord now, and I'm praying, of course, for my family that, you know, that they come over to this side. You know, I can't force them. I could just pray for them, you know, because I see what's going on in this world, and things are not getting better. And I know that God has blessed us to be alive and still here, because this very air that we all are breathing belongs to God. This body doesn't belong to us. We think it belongs to us. It belongs to God, and you got to treat it right. And this is why a lot of things has happened, such as this pandemic, and a lot of things to teach us how to be social, to teach us how to to respect and obey God, that the things we took for granted could be taken away from us like a twinkling of an eye. Do you remember it wasn't too long ago when you had a debate whether you should go to work or get gasoline for your car? Do you remember when there was a gasoline shortage, there was a shutdown, and people was fighting, arguing, and some people would get ahead of the line because they say, I work for the city? This wasn't too long ago. This might have been, what, 10 years ago? It's just showing you that we can become paralyzed, but God shows us things in time. And that's why we gotta give back to him now and treat his body right. And this is the thing that I say, this music is over-sexualized. There's a difference between loneliness and in solitary confinement. Loneliness is when you feel nobody's around. You're lost. Solitary confinement is when you're with Jesus Christ and he's got your back. When everybody else leaves you, Christ is there for you. He's never going anywhere. As long as you stay, you pull on him, he pulls nigh to you when you honor him and you respect him and you reference him. He loves that. You understand? And there's times where people, because God doesn't act expediently, when people expect them, they think God don't exist. They get annoyed. But God allows things to happen for a reason. He's Almighty God. He's the creator of all things. He's in control of everything. He's the boss of my life. And I humble myself. The more you humble yourself, the more he pulls you closer to him. This ain't no joke. And I'm not ashamed to glorify Jesus Christ's name. Because he says if you are ashamed or embarrassed, he's going to deny you. You want to glorify him and lift him up now while you think you're going through all these trials. This is all a test right now. And remember, once we die, everybody's going to have to stand accountable to Jesus Christ. That's when Judgment Day comes. So we're not talking about you die and your phony pastor is telling this person who done murdered, who done lied, who done stole, who done cheat, and didn't repent from their sins, and now the pastor is putting them up when they roll them up in some funeral home or some church, and he's saying how beautiful this person is, or this person's up in yonder with God. God didn't tell you that. You're lying, and you're lying on God's word. Now, what God is saying to you, repent. Seek his face now while he can be found. God teaches us in the scriptures that when you die, we go to dust. We ain't nothing but dust. That's all we are. You can have all the degrees, all the money, all the girls, all the 50 mansions, the 20 rooms in your man. We're nothing but dust. That's all we are. The Bible says when we die, we go to the grave, which is the first grave, which is dust. And then the spirit goes up. But here's where the false prophets mislead us. Just because it says it goes up doesn't mean it's going up to heaven. It says it goes up. That means it comes from your body, because your body goes to dust and it goes up. Remember, God is everywhere. But your body is waiting in that dust for Judgment Day. And remember, for those that were cremated, and they took their ashes to the ocean and sprinkled them out in the ocean, somebody may go, well, how is he going to collect that? God is Almighty God. He's going to collect all that data, all them ashes, and bring them right back into human form. And he's going to say, explain to me why you denied me if you haven't repented. That's why I'm telling the world, I'm using this platform to tell people to come back to Jesus Christ and recognize that he's our Lord and Savior. There's no one before him, no one after him. He is Abba Father, the Alpha, the Omega, the Rock, the Elohim, the Foreseer, the Comforter, the Strength. He's the Counsel, he's the Truth. He's the one and only true living, then the beginning, the end. He's always and forever and ever and ever eternity. The Most High God is one. He is Jesus Christ. Hallelujah to God.